I decided to do just a quick update on my Jeep RC crawler, trail truck, whatever you want to call it, project that I started. You saw in the previous video the body and everything I got, and also the chassis I was planning on using. Well, haven't done an update yet, or for quite a while, because I was looking to get some parts. I had to order a few parts and so on, and also I changed my mind a little bit on how I wanted to do the project, so I'll show you here what I've got now. What you see here is the pile of parts. Here's the old tires and so on that I was going to use. They're nice, but they're a little bit big and they're not very stock looking or realistic looking, if you want to call them that. So I decided, well, let's put those aside. And I was in a hobby store down in Calgary, and I've seen these before, but I found these. They're steel wheels. They got the 6 bolts in the center. They're kind of a 3-piece design, but they look a lot more realistic. The nut in the center and all that is kind of so-so, but it's called a 1.9 inch size diameter. So you can kind of, see if I can do this. I'll show you the difference. That's the 1.9, and there's 2.2. So they're just a little bit smaller, a little more scale up here, and you can see how the height's a little bit different. See if I can get the light a little bit better. There you go. You can see a little bit better now how the height is a little bit smaller, but the wheel is smaller, so it'll look a little more realistic. Also, you can see if I do this, you can see how much narrower it is, so give it a little more scale appearance, and tread as well as kind of more of a scale look. So that's one route I've decided to take. Also, I was at the same hobby store. I found some nice shocks. They're actually real looking shocks. You can see here they're Ultimate SC shocks. They're 100 millimeters long, and a lot more scale appearance than the giant plasticky looking things like this with I ordered online. I decided the chassis was just too short. Here you can see the chassis I was using. You see that in a previous video. It's a very nice chassis, center transmission and so on, but like you saw in that last video, it was a little bit short, so I was going to have to extend the length. So I was doing some looking online on a website called Crawler Canada, Canadian website, and I found a machining company out in Ontario I think it's Ontario, that makes chassis called the Cross Canyon. Just a nice laser cut right there. You can see it's a laser cut aluminum chassis, very similar to the other one I was going to use. The big difference is, if we hold it up here, maybe if I swing links out of the way, if we hold it up to the other chassis, you can see how it's probably 1.5 inches longer or so. Right there you can kind of see, which will allow the chassis to stretch out better on the Jeep without making the links as long. The other thing I ordered from them as well, I don't like having the problem with this center transmission is if you're running an interior, it's hard to make it fit. It just takes up room. It's right underneath underneath the seats in the center, and you have to cut it away, and then you got to find a way to hide it. So what I bought from the same company, it's not put together. I'll show you later when it's together, but you can see kind of in the bag here with the gears and that, it's actually a 1-to-1 transfer case that fits in the center, and then you mount your transmission and that up front under the hood. So I'll open it up and I'll show you. Here you can see the case. The gears aren't in it yet, but to give you an idea on this other chassis, get some better light here. Since I'm downstairs, the light's horrible. Take this. I've got a plate here which mounts into the front of the chassis plates up in here on the other chassis, and this mounts into that. And then you take a drive shaft, you mount this transfer case down here, and you can see how much smaller it is. I don't know if the light allows you, but it's much more low profile, which it allows you to mount your interior down, and it doesn't get in the way. So what happens is you mount this up front. You only use one of these one of these output shafts, and then a shaft runs from here into this, goes in like that, just like a real transfer case, and then inside the gears transfer over to the other shafts. And you have two output shafts, one goes to the back and one goes to the front. So I got that, and I also got a servo mount, which allows you to mount the servo up in the chassis instead of on the axle. You can't really, I don't have it mounted right now, but normally the servo mounts on the axle and steers, which isn't very realistic. So this mount here puts the servo up into the chassis, and then you have a link across, and then it kind of like the real thing. So start putting this together, and I'll create another video when you can see once it's kind of partly assembled.